My wife cheated on me with my business partner and left me for him, but later she faced a big disappointment. My ex-wife, Katie, 38, and I had been together for 19 years, 16 of those married. We also have a 14-year-old daughter. About 6 months ago, she left me to be with my business partner, well, now ex-partner, because he sold his share and quit after I found out about their affair. Lian used to be my colleague, and over time we became good friends, so we decided to quit our jobs and start our own company. We worked together for 5 years, and for 3 of those, he had been sleeping with my wife. I found out about it 6 months ago from Katie's phone messages. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She admitted everything and said she was tired of hiding it. She told me she had long wanted to leave me. I was devastated. I had no idea she was unhappy in our marriage. If I had known, I would have done anything to fix it. The day I exposed her, she said she was leaving, but I still offered to try to make it work. A stupid move, but I was desperate. She became irritated and said she had only married me because she got pregnant by accident and didn't want to be alone. She claimed she had tried to love me for all those 16 years but couldn't, and now she had found a man she truly loved. She told me not to keep her locked up and that I should just accept it. It was incredibly painful, especially because of our daughter, but Katie didn't hesitate before leaving. She filed for divorce, asked for no alimony, and our asset split was fair. Within a couple of months, it was finalized. By that time, I had come to my senses and realized I couldn't be with her after what happened. I spoke to Lian, and he just apologized, saying he had wanted to tell me for a long time but didn't know how. A couple of weeks later, he quit and said they were moving away, partly because they didn't want to cause me problems, and partly because Katie had been offered a great job in Boston. His cousin also lived there, so he could work with him. He wrote all this in a letter, and I never spoke to either of them again. The last time I saw Katie was 2 months ago, on the day our divorce was finalized. It was hard for my daughter and me, but we managed. At least I still had the business to focus on. I wanted to give my daughter the future she deserved. Then, about a week ago, Katie suddenly showed up again, and I'm still not sure if my daughter and I reacted the right way. It was around PM, someone was banging on the door and ringing the bell nonstop. My daughter was already asleep, and I was finishing work in my office. We both rushed to the door, and when I looked through the window, I saw it was Katie. My daughter asked me not to open it. She's still very hurt by her mother. Even though Katie has partial custody, she hasn't made a single attempt to reconnect, and after the cheating, my daughter's attitude toward her only got worse, but I figured if Katie came at that hour, it must be serious. I opened the door, but instead of coming in, she immediately started yelling that she would sue me and take everything she was owed. She shouted that she couldn't believe I had chosen to punish her so cruelly. At first, I had no idea what she was talking about. I asked her to calm down and explain. She accused me of deliberately not telling her about Lian's true nature to get back at her for the affair. Then she rolled up her sleeve to show me a spot on her arm with a bandage. I instantly understood that Lian must have done something, which shocked me. I had worked with him for years and never once saw him raise his voice at anyone. Katie explained that since moving to Boston, they had been constantly fighting. She thought he was just adjusting to the new life, but after a month, he was still acting like it was all her fault. He kept blaming her for ruining his life, making him leave the business, forcing him to work for a cousin who belittled him, and telling me about their affair before he was ready. They fought every night. During one argument, he finally snapped and threw a vase at her. She tried to dodge it, but it still hit her arm and cut her. Before that, it was only verbal insults. Now it had escalated. She left the house immediately and got the next flight to see me. Lian didn't even try to contact or apologize afterward. She told me it was all my fault, that I must have known about his aggression and kept it secret to punish her. She claimed it was cruel since she had done me a favor by asking for nothing in the divorce, and I hadn't bothered to protect her. That was absurd. Yes, I had worked with Lian for years, but only in a professional setting. I didn't know what he was like in relationships. I'd only met the women he dated a couple of times. I had no way of knowing this side of him. Her accusations were nonsense, and it infuriated me that she acted like I owed her anything. I told her I had no idea and that I was sorry for what happened, but in the end, she had put herself in that situation. She could threaten me with court, all she wanted, but deep down she knew I had nothing to do with it. My daughter had been standing by the door the whole time, and I'd almost forgotten she was there because I was so caught up in the argument. When the conversation started going in circles, my daughter interrupted and told Katie to leave. I was surprised she spoke up apparently. Katie was too, but then Katie snapped at her to shut up and mind her own business because she was too young to understand and ordered her to go to bed. My daughter refused. She stood her ground and told Katie she had no right to speak to me like that, especially after everything she had done to me. She reminded her that I had been broken. For months after the affair, while Katie selfishly moved on with her new life, she also reminded her that she hadn't even tried to visit or keep in touch because she was too busy with Leon. Then my daughter told Katie she had failed both as a wife and as a mother, and she had no right to stand there acting like a victim in a situation she had created herself. My daughter is only 14, but after hearing all this, I truly realized just how much she has matured because of the divorce. Katie had nothing to say in response, and then my daughter delivered her final words. Since Katie left and is now with Leon, she should deal with everything happening to her on her own, because we are no longer her family. She dug her own grave, so now she can lie in it. That's exactly what she deserves for ruining the lives of the people closest to her. After saying that, my daughter slammed the door in Katie's face and went to her room. I heard Katie crying outside, but I didn't even go to check on her after everything that happened between us. There was no need. I just went to bed and tried not to think about it over the next couple of days, focusing on work. I was very proud of my daughter for taking my side and not letting me break down in front of Katie. After that visit, things seemed to be going fine until 3 days ago, when Katie showed up again, this time with a lawyer demanding full custody of our daughter. Thankfully, my daughter was with her friends that evening, so I didn't have to tell her anything yet. But I was furious when Katie said that after the way my daughter spoke to her last time, she had decided she would no longer allow her to live with me. She claimed that the real reason she didn't try to maintain contact with our daughter after I found out about the affair was because she didn't want to get dragged into a long custody battle and make my life even harder. She said she wanted to leave quietly and not try to contact our daughter because she supposedly knew I was on edge back then, and her involvement in our daughter's life would have only made things worse. So basically, she was trying to say that she did all this for me, and not just because she wanted to run away from responsibility. Naturally, I didn't believe her and told her straight out, I know perfectly well that the only reason you didn't fight for anything during the divorce, especially custody, was because you wanted to leave as quickly as possible and start a new life with Leon. It had nothing to do with me, no matter how you try to spin it. I have nothing to feel guilty about, but Katie said she didn't care what I thought because now she wanted full custody of our daughter and she was determined to get it. She said she wouldn't let me destroy our daughter's perception of her mother by filling her head with nonsense and disrespect toward her. According to her, during our last meeting, our daughter behaved in an extremely disrespectful way toward her, and instead of intervening, I encouraged it. So now she knew what to do and came to tell me she would be taking me to court. I just said, go right ahead, and slammed the door because I didn't want to talk to her or waste any more of my time. But now I'm starting to wonder, what if she's right about something? I want to believe I'm doing the right thing, but honestly, right now, I'm not sure about anything anymore. Update 1: I've decided I have absolutely nothing to apologize for. My daughter did exactly the right thing by taking my side, and the comments helped me realize how foolish I had been acting. Katie cheated on me. I don't think I owe her either sympathy or pity for what's happened to her. Many people in the comments suggested I should talk to my daughter in advance in case Katie decides to go for full custody, so it wouldn't come as a shock to her, especially after our last encounter. So yesterday I talked to my daughter and told her everything. I didn't want to hide anything from her. She has already proven she's mature enough to handle it. Yes, I do feel a little sad that she had to grow up so quickly, but at least now I can prepare her for what's ahead. So far, we haven't heard anything from Katie, but we're expecting that to change soon. My daughter is 14, and that's old enough for her opinion to be taken into account in court if it even gets that far. It would be better to resolve everything through mediation, but just in case, I wanted to make sure she truly wanted to stay with me, and she obviously does. She made it crystal clear she doesn't want anything to do with Katie, at least for now. She said that maybe in the future she'll think about reconnecting with her mother, but right now the pain is too fresh. She clearly blames her mother for destroying our family, and I can't deny that. I don't want to be the kind of father who turns a child against their mother out of spite, but in this case, I really didn't have to do anything. Katie managed that herself. Now my daughter just doesn't want to talk to her, even though they used to be quite close. This is a sharp and painful break for my daughter. It's clear Katie is angry that my daughter is on my side, especially since she always tried to be closer to her. By the way, many people asked who told my daughter about the affair. Well, it wasn't me, it was Katie herself. She wrote about it in a letter to our daughter just a couple of days after moving out, without even asking me if I agreed to that. My daughter was very upset when she learned the truth, but despite everything, she still wanted to talk to her mother at least once. But it was Katie who refused. When I tried to contact her to tell her our daughter wanted to talk and discuss what had happened, Katie said she didn't want to because she was too busy with the divorce process, and besides, she thought it wasn't something worth discussing. Everything she wanted to say was in that letter, and she supposedly had nothing to add. I tried to convince her to have at least one conversation with our daughter because it was clear she had a lot of questions. But Katie was adamant. After that, she cut off contact with us completely. So my daughter's view of her mother changed dramatically, and in my opinion, it's unfair for Katie to blame me for that. In any case, I spoke with my lawyer and we will be ready. Update 2: a couple of days ago, I finally received the summons from Katie regarding full custody. My lawyer and I immediately filed a response. Tomorrow, we have a court-appointed mediation meeting scheduled. Today, I got a call from Leon. I was pretty surprised. We had no reason to talk, but I answered anyway. As soon as I picked up, he said he wanted me to give Katie back to him. He told me he'd been trying to reach her for the past couple of days and was sure she must be with me, or at least had spoken to me. He wanted me to tell her that he was looking for her. I told him I didn't know where she was living now, but yes, we had spoken in the last few days and she was here to fight for custody of our daughter. I didn't say this for Leon's sake. My thought was, what if talking to him could make her change her mind and convince her to come back to him? Ideally, maybe he could even persuade her to give up her parental rights altogether. With that in mind, I told him everything. I also added that she had been very upset that he hadn't tried to contact her after that night, and if he really wanted her back, he should hurry. Poor guy didn't even suspect they were manipulating him, so everything worked out quite well. I just hoped that Kathy still wanted to be with him and that when he showed up, she would decide to go back to him. I told my lawyer about this plan, and even he thinks I did the right thing because, although the situation was already turning in our favor, saving time and nerves never hurts, especially if it helps settle the case before trial. Update 3. So, 2 days ago, Kathy and I had our first mediation session, and of course, nothing went according to plan. She didn't agree to any of our terms and said it was all a waste of time. Then she ended the meeting in less than half an hour. After she left, I picked up my daughter from school, and when we got home, Leon was already waiting on the porch. He looked absolutely awful, and I could easily imagine how he got to such a state after a couple of months with Kathy. I told him to leave because my daughter and I had just come home and wanted to relax. We had neither the strength nor the desire to deal with another drama. I had already done everything I could for him. I wasn't going to go out of my way for a guy who was messing around with my wife behind my back, but he just broke down crying and said that after their last fight, Kathy hadn't replied to a single message from him and he didn't know where to find her. I told him I still didn't know where she lived and couldn't help. He just sat on the porch steps and cried, covering his face with his hands. At that moment, all this drama really started to annoy me. This guy, together with Kathy, destroyed my life, and now he feels comfortable enough to ask me to help him find her so they can make up. I told my daughter to go inside so I could deal with this myself. When she left, I told Leon it was time for him to go because I was fed up with both of them. Just in case, I gave him Kathy's parents' contacts and said if he couldn't reach her, he should call them and leave us alone. I told him that he and Kathy had ruined my life, and I didn't want to see him hanging around my house anymore. He tried to apologize and said he didn't want to hurt me but had fallen in love with her and couldn't help himself. I didn't want to hear it, didn't say anything, and he left. I constantly feel lost and don't understand what's happening in my life. I truly hope and pray that Leon and Kathy can sort things out, because if they do, maybe they'll finally leave me and my daughter alone and I can start living peacefully again. At the moment, I don't understand what's going on, or what I feel, mostly nothing. I can't wait for all this to finally end. Update 4. A couple of days ago, Kathy officially ended our mediation sessions and said she wants the case to go to court. That's going to end badly for her, and we all know it, but apparently it's only now starting to sink in for her. Anyway, a few hours ago she came to me with Lee and it seems they managed to work things out between themselves. I didn't let her in because my daughter was home and feeling unwell, and I didn't want to make it worse, so I told them to wait at a nearby CAF. I called my mum to sit with my daughter, and I went to them. When I arrived, Kathy and Leon apologized for everything they put me through, and again, I had to explain that I didn't care anymore. I just want them to go their own way and get to the point. Why did they even call me? I wasn't going to waste time on fake apologies and nonsense. So they got to the point, they admitted they messed up and realized they really don't like Boston. Kathy missed our daughter a lot and Leon missed feeling like he was his own boss. Now Kathy wanted me to agree to let our daughter visit her every weekend or at least every other weekend because she doesn't want to lose the life she had. Leon pulled off a real surprise. He wants to become my business partner again and open a branch in Boston. The best part is that they want me to decide within a couple of days because Kathy and her employers said that if she wants to keep her job, she needs to go back to remote work. She can't continue otherwise. Even if I wanted to think about it, I wouldn't have time. So I just said no to all of it. Leon already quit and sold his share, so I wasn't going to take him back. I don't trust him at all. Kathy's proposal is just absurd. Our daughter shouldn't be shuttled back and forth every weekend just to see her mother. That should have been thought through before moving to Boston. This is not my fault at all. They started arguing with me, saying they were ready to compromise because they didn't want to take it to court. I told them that the very thought that they might achieve something and even win in court sounds ridiculous. The only reason they came to negotiate with me in person was to try to pressure me. Unfortunately for them, I'm not weak or stupid enough to fall for that. The only reason I agreed to meet was that I wanted to put an end to this whole story. My words immediately cooled their ardor because even they understood that if it went to court, they didn't stand a chance. I said the most I could do was talk to my daughter and try to convince her to at least meet with her mother when she visits. But that's it, nothing more. So either they accept my offer or they can get lost. I'm done wasting my time on them. Kathy looked pretty desperate and quickly agreed. I left and will talk to my daughter when she feels better, but I'm not going to force her to do what she doesn't want. If she decides she doesn't want to see her mother anymore, that will be her decision. I definitely won't try to convince her otherwise. Update 5. Hey, a couple of months have passed. In the last update, I said I wasn't going to force my daughter to meet her mother if she didn't want to. After that update, I talked to my daughter, told her what Kathy said, and she replied that she needed some time to think it over. I passed that info to Kathy a couple of months ago, and since then we haven't spoken. I don't know if she and Leon managed to fix their issues, honestly. I don't care. But as far as I know, they're still together and living in Boston. Well, let them live. The main thing is they left me alone, and now I can finally try to build my life anew. That's exactly what I'm doing now. The best revenge is to live well. So I'm just focused on work and on raising my daughter to be a good person, not like her mother. I hope I succeed.